The very first time you go on stage, if you've got 2 or 3 decent jokes, and at least the idea of where to go with some observations, then that ought to do you. Your very first time out, that seems like a reasonable thing to ask of a person. It's quite a lot to expect somebody to have 5 minutes of polished, fantastic material straight away the first time they're on stage. Even I, you know, having been doing this quite a few years, don't really know exactly how I'm going to word a joke until the first time I actually tell it on stage.
Okay.
So it is fair enough to just have a basic idea, have a notion of a punchline, or just have a notion of an idea of something that you think is ridiculous, and then just being on stage talking about it, it just comes out. But don't make the mistake of thinking you can just go on stage, having never done it before, and just talk off the top of your head and everything's going to be fine. Have some idea of what you're going to do.
A slight route map of where you're going. And afterwards, you've done your first gig. Is there a way to try and remember what happens on stage? Because I can imagine, as a first time, you'll be pretty blind, rabbit in headlights. So you've got to remember, maybe people laughed at something that you didn't think was so funny.
Yeah.
Didn't laugh at something that you spent a week.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you can write a joke, and the bit you think is funny is not what the bit that the audience thinks is funny. I have a routine about, once again, it was about bed, and it was to do with when you wake up and you have no idea what time it is, and then you look at the clock and it's 4 a.m. And then you go, and then you remember that you're a milkman and you've slept in. Now, to me, the funny bit was the punchline.
Yeah.
But that was one of those jokes that just grew organically. And the funny bit is the description of turning to look at the clock radio and then seeing the 4 a.m. and then just going, nah. You know, that bit is what gets the laugh. The bit on the end is just like a tagline. It's just a, you know. So you don't know what an audience necessarily is gonna go for. A trick at that, once again, is the dictaphone, is to record your gigs when you're doing them, and go, right, that didn't work. Classic thing as well is the 3-strike rule. If the same joke hasn't gotten a laugh 3 times, then just bin it.
Right.
And then maybe a year later go back and see if you can find a way to make it work.
And when is a joke completely dead and gone? Have you ever had a joke that you've held on to for so long?
For longer than I should.
Yeah.
If you're doing an hour-and-a-half long show on a tour, and you've got a line that you think is funny and no one else does, so long as the rest of the show is funny, you're allowed. You're allowed to just keep one line in that might just get a bit of a groan from a couple of people, and you can kind of go, that's just for me, that one. And then, you know, you're giving yourself license after that long to do that.
Yeah.
But when you're starting out, no, like I say, if you've tried it 3 times and it doesn't work, then throw it away.
See it off.
Yeah.